Good afternoon, students. Welcome to our Mathematics 6. That's BESP MAT32, the subject code. I am your tutor, Mrs. Lloyd Shikongo. Okay, for the next 45 minutes, we are going to look at some contents of Mathematics 5. That is my number, 0812009-524. I prefer you sending me a WhatsApp with a picture. Once I get it, I'll definitely come to you for your answer. Okay, or the email is not that much useful, because if you have a question, it's better to communicate through WhatsApp. But if you don't have WhatsApp, perhaps I'll be able to call and answer your question to your satisfaction. You can contact me from 3 to 9 or 3 to, between those hours. I'll be available for your questions. Welcome all. This is the time to watch and learn this crucial session. This presentation will cover very few contents and very few. So 45 minutes is not enough to cover the whole 5 units. Okay, now I wish you to work hard and to be very good students. I know some of your students feel this module very well. I don't know why, but I hope you are not those students. I hope you'll pass, and you'll pass with flying colors. Now, as you are aware that completing assignments and examination will be done online, I want you to familiarize yourself very well with the system, okay? Try out all those icons, okay, and how to use them. Doing the assignment on time will help you save on the last minute rush. Whether you have to draw a graph, those shading graphs, inequality graphs, or whatever type of graphs, you need to acquaint yourself very well with the system so that you'll be comfortable. Okay, do not everything will be covered here. I want you to encourage you to watch previous presentations done for questions or for content you are not you did not catch up nicely, or you can always ask me, please. Now, one of the most important things when it comes to answering the questions that I want you to be aware of is read the instruction and rounding off to 3 significant figures, please. If the instruction said round to 3 significant or 1 decimal place, or write your answer as a whole number, please do that. Let's start. You know, Unit 6 is about function notations and linear programming. Common functions. There are those students who are now comfortable when it comes to functions, but I find some students still struggling, and so we are going to look at some of the functions questions, especially finding the inverse of a function. How to determine inequalities on the number line. We are also going to look at some number lines. I mean, not number line, but inequality graphs. How to determine inequality and boundary and on a flat or a plane surface. How to use and explain the rules of for boundary lines and shading regions. Find the greatest and the least values of expression, and translate sentences into mathematical statements. That is part of this unit. Unit 7 is coordinate geometry, points on a Cartesian plane, formula and calculating gradients, formula and calculating distance between 2 points, formulas and find the midpoints of a line segment, the equation of the line, how to sketch a line graph, how to find perpendicular bisector of a line segment, apply coordinate geometry by using quadrilaterals and other geometric shapes. And Unit 8 is geometrical terms and application. That is the angles, locus, area, mass, surface area of pyramids, cones, and other things. That's one thing that you should know. Okay, trigonometry in right and non-right angle triangle. How do we use the SOHCAHTOA? How do you use the Pythagoras theorem? How do you apply the sine and the cosine functions? How do we calculate the angle between a line and the plane? Angle of depression or angle of elevation, those type of things. Okay, statistics, describe statistics and its value to society. How do we organize frequency tables, construct pie charts, interpret from pie chart histograms, calculate mean, median, mode, estimate the mean of grouped and continuous data, for most especially construct histograms of equal and unequal intervals, determine the median, the percentiles, the quartiles, interquartile range of distribution, drawing cumulative frequency graphs. As I said, please don't say it's how can I draw this thing on a computer. The system is compatible with mathematics. You can draw your graph very well without any struggle. Just familiarize yourself with those icons. Play with your book on your computer. Probability. Clarify the word probability and its use. Describe the concept of experimental and theoretical probabilities. Find probability of single events, calculate probability of combined events, calculate probability of combined events which are independent or mutually exclusive. Okay, transformation and vectors as well. How do we draw? How do we rotate shapes, construct enlargements, refractions, give description of transformations, add and subtract vectors, multiply, calculate the magnitude of the vectors, and many others. Now let's start with functions notations. A function notation is a simple method of describing a function without a lengthy written explanation. The most frequently used function notation is f of x, which is read as f of x as I said it. Okay, so when it comes to functions, you know, this y is equal to 2x plus 4 is a function. But if I want us to look at different functions, I will not keep on saying y is equal to 3x plus 3, for example, y is equal to 4x minus 2. No, there's a fancy way. Now, if I imagine I want you to refer to 2x plus 4, I can say use that function of f of x. So then I can say f of x is equal to g of x. I give them different names, h of x. These are mostly common letters that we use, g, h, f, g, h. Okay, so then they are just fancy ways so that we can differentiate which function are we working with. It allows for individual function names to avoid confusion to which function is being examined. The names have different letters such as f of x, g of x, as I explained. It quickly identifies the independent variable in a problem, and where c and the variable x. It quickly states which element of the function is to be examined. For example, if I say find f of 2, then you know that I have to focus on the f function. Okay, when f of x is 3x, is the same find y when x is equal to 2 for y is equal to 3x. Okay, now we are going to learn how to evaluate functions. To evaluate a function, you just substitute the input of a given number or expression for that function. For example, given that f of x is 3x minus 5, find f of 4. How can we get that? So then you just substitute. To evaluate, you substitute. Where there is x, you put that number you are given as a placeholder. Okay? Now let's look at some of these questions. Example, given that f of x is 3x plus 5, g of x is 7 minus 2x, and h of x is x squared minus 8. Find f of 2. How can I get f of 2? Therefore, f of 2 will be what? The function is 3x plus 5. I'm using the f function. Therefore, where there is x, you put 2. That means it's 3 times 2 plus 5, which will give us 3 times 2 is 6. 6 plus 5 will give us 11. The answer for this function will be 11. Find, B said, find g of 0.5 and negative 0.5 plus f of 3. Again, you substitute the value of x with in the g function with negative 0.5 and 3 in the f function with x with in the f function with 3. All right, so then that means that would be 7 minus, the g of x is 7 minus 2x, right? 7 minus 2 times, where there is x, I put negative 0.5, plus f of x said 3x plus 5, meaning I have to replace 3 with x with 3. That means it will be 3 times 3 plus 5. Then you get your answer. F of g of negative 0.5 is that, plus f of 3 is that one. You add them together and then you get your answer. Then C said find gx minus 3, meaning in the g function the whole of x should be replaced by x minus 3. That means it will be 7 minus 2, where there is x, I put x minus 3. That will be a correct substitution. You work it out and then you get your answer. All right, then D said find age of 5x. How can we get that answer? Age said x squared minus 8. Where there is x, I put 5x. That means it will be 5x. This is squared minus 8. Then work out. That will be 5 squared is 25. X squared minus 8 in simplest form. All right, so then that is it. So then to evaluate, you just substitute that number in that function to get your answer. Then we look at the inverse function. How to find the inverse function? An inverse function is a function that reverses. You should know the reverse operations, such as a plus is a minus and a minus is a plus. A multiplication and divisions are inverse of each other. A square and a square root are inverse of each other. If I'm not squaring, I'll take a square root. So as a cube and a cube root. So then those are function or notation that you should know which notation are inverse of each other. An inverse is usually shown by writing -1 as an index after a function name. For example, f of x, if I want to find if f of x is equal to 2x plus 4, if I said find the inverse, then I'll say find the inverse of f of x. Put a -1 as an index. Okay, steps on how to find the inverse are: replace f of x with y. Remember, f of x is just a fancy way writing y, so then they mean the same thing. Okay, for the thing to look simple on paper, and then to make the rest of the process easier. Replace every x with y and every y with x. Interchange x and y. Then we make y the subject of the formula, and then finally we replace y with the function that we're working with. All right, the function name. Let's find the inverse of these numbers. If f of x is equal to 5x minus 1, find the inverse, meaning find f of x to the power of -1 of that function, 5x minus 1. What did it say? It said rewrite f of x, use y here. Y is equal to 5x minus 1. Then from there, change x to be y and y make it x. X is equal to 5y minus 1. Then you make y the subject. How can I make the y the subject here? I can move this -1 on the other side, so it will be x plus y is equal to 5y. Remember, I want to make y the subject, so if I divide both sides by 5, it will be y is equal to x plus 1 divided by 5. This is fine now. Y is the subject, but then I have to do what? I have to rewrite it. Therefore, f of x, the inverse of f of x is now x plus 1 over 5. So that is the inverse of that function. Alright, what if I have g of x is equal to 3x minus 3 over 4? Find the function here. First of all, change this to y. Y is equal to 3x minus 3 divided by 4. Then you interchange x and y. Here, write x. And here change it to y, minus 3 over 4. Then you make y the subject. How can I make y the subject? We need to move or get rid of a 4 first by multiplication, times 4 here. So it will be 4x is equal to 3y minus 3. Remember, this one will cancel out. I want to make y the subject. Why can't I move 3 on the other side? So 4x, or subtract, add 3 to get rid of the 3. 4x plus 3 here is equal to this 3. This one will just give us 0, is equal to 3y. And I want to make y the subject. Divide both sides by 3. Therefore, y as a subject is 4x plus 3 over 3. You are done. Just make it nice as a function. Therefore, g of x as an inverse, or the inverse of g of x is 4x plus 3 over 3. Okay, that's done. Then what if it said h of x is equal to x plus 1 cubed? How can I make this as an inverse? How can I find the inverse of h of x? As I said, change this to y, x plus 1 cubed. And we have to move this cube first. An opposite for a cube is a cube root, okay? The inverse of cube is a cube root. That one will be the cube root of y is then equal to x plus 1. Sorry for this. Let me just rewrite it here. It said h of x is equal to x plus 1 cubed. That means y is equal to x plus 1 cubed. You interchange. X is equal to y plus 1 cubed. Then you make y the subject. Get rid of the cube first by using the cube root. Okay, that will be the cube root of x is equal to y plus 1. Make y the subject, move 1 there, so then the cube root of x minus 1 is equal to y. You are done. Y is the subject. Y is equal to the cube root of x minus 1. Remember, minus 1 is outside the cube root, okay? And then h of x as an inverse is therefore that, the cube root of x minus 1. As simple as that. Okay, then the last one said find f of x, the inverse of f of x, which is for the function the cube root of x minus 3. Everything is inside. As I said, change this into a y. What if we have a cube root of x minus 3 like that? Interchange x and y. X is equal to the cube root of that, y minus 3. Then from there you make y the subject. You need to expose y, get rid of the cube root. The opposite of the cube root is a cube, so then you cube everything. Okay, so then x cubed is equal to y minus 3. Then you take 3 on the other side, on negative 3, which is going to be a positive this side, is equal to y. Y is a subject, just a matter of writing it. Therefore, the inverse of x is now x cubed plus 3. Finding the inverse of a function is a process. There are steps that you really need to know. First, use y instead of a function name. Interchange x and y, and then you make y the subject and you rewrite it back with the function name. Remember to put a power of -1 there to show that this is an inverse. All right. Then we come to composite functions. Composite functions are a function of a function. One function is applied to the result of another function. For example, g f of x means the function of x, or f of x, is substituted into g of x. Okay, for example, if f of x is x plus 2 and g of x is x squared, find g f of 4. We start from the inside out, meaning we now have to start with f of x first. So then you substitute first in the function, you substitute 4 in the function of f, okay, which will give us 4 plus 2. In place of x, you put 4 for that function, then we get 6. After that, 6 is the one that we use to substitute in the g function. Okay, g function said x squared, so then you replace x with 6. It's not 4 anymore, 4 is expired, so you replace it with 6, then 6 squared. The final answer is therefore equal to 36. All right. Okay, there are some questions here, but you can practice them with your time, please. If you have a question, you can ask me. Then we can look at another part where students, I find very much quite a challenging thing to find the cumulative frequency. Cumulative frequency is the sum of all the previous frequencies up to a certain value. You end up all the values as you go to find the cumulative frequencies. So then here I have a table for this question that I have. All right, so then it said the masses in grams of the apples in the box are summarized in the table below. Complete the table. So if you look at the table is empty on cumulative frequencies. How do we find the cumulative? Cumulative is say you keep on adding those frequencies as you move along. Okay, so then you start with 4 here, then you add. I just say please use zigzag. 4 plus 56, it will give us what? 60 here. 60 plus 84, it will give us what? 120. 144, 144 plus 74, it will give us what? Just move on. 144 plus 74, it will give us 218. 218 plus 36, it will give us 254. 254 plus 4, it will give us 258. Is that correct? 4 plus 56 equals 60. 60 plus 84 equals 144. 144 plus 76 equals 220. This is 220. 220 plus 36 equals 256. 256 here. 256 plus 4 equals 260. Okay, so then that is how we add. And this 260 should be equal to here, if these two numbers are correct. then you know that you're mostly maybe your things are correct. Okay, the total number here should be equal to the total frequencies. Find the mode group. Which one is the mode? You know the three average, right? Mode, the median, and the mean. Find the mode group. How do we get the mode? Mode is the one, a group with the highest frequency. Which one is having the highest frequency here? I can see the one with 84. Therefore, the mode group, you write it as it is. The mode group in this case is 150 less than or equal to, less than you copy 200. It the way it is. Do not change anything on the group or on that interval. You copy it. Then the next very important question, usually for maths, to get the estimate mean. How do we calculate the estimate mean of the grouped data? How do we work out? So then first of all, you need to find the midpoints. You need to find the midpoints of intervals. How do we find the midpoint here? You add those two intervals together. 50 plus 100, it will give us 150. Divide by 2, the midpoint here is 75. Then you do the same. 100 plus 150 equals 250. Divide by 2 equals 125. Please don't do everything together. If you press 100 plus 150, then you continue divide by 2, you see you get a wrong answer. You get 175 here, but the answer should be 120. Please add and get the answer first before you divide. Then the next one, 150 plus 200 equals 350 divided by 2. Then this one will give us 175, the midpoint. Then 200 plus 250 equals, divide by 2, it will give us 225. Just with a pencil, find the midpoints. Then 250 plus 300, it will give us that. Divide by 2, it will give us 275 here. Then the last one is 300 plus, this is 350, I'm sorry for the number, 350 equals, divide by 2, then it do 325. After that, find the midpoint, then you multiply. Take the midpoint, then you multiply it with the frequencies. So then each one, so it's 75 times 4 plus 125 times 56 plus 175 times 84 plus 225 times 76 plus it continues, let me just continue there, 275 times 36 plus 325 times 4. Everything should be, don't take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Everything should be out of the total frequency. Everything divided by 260. It is a matter of working out those and add them together and divide them with 260 to get your mean. Mean doesn't use units. Don't write what meters, 10 meters, the answer in kilometers. If it's 37, just put 37 alone. I hope that is clear. When you come to finding the mean of estimated, not to find the estimate mean of grouped, you can see them. The items are grouped there. All right. The next thing is drawing the cumulative frequency curve and interpreting it. How do we draw the cumulative frequency curve? Okay, it starts from, it depends. Did it start your graph? Do your information start from 0 or what? Okay, I want you to go to your study guide and look at those key points when it comes to drawing the cumulative frequency curve. Now this one we are not going to draw. we are interpreting it. But last year, if you look at the last year video, this was very clear on how to draw a correct curve or ogive for that. How do we find the upper quartile range? Like for this case, for this question said, find the upper quartile. Upper quarter. The upper quarter, we use 3/4 times the total there times 100. 3/4 times 100 is 75. Then we look, where is 75 in our graph? We check 75. Please make sure that you know how to read the scale. How are you reading the scale? This is not the final answer. Some of you just stop there, but this is not the answer yet. After you find your answer, go to your graph, locate where that number is. 75 is somewhere in the middle there, between 70 and 80. You go straight, and then from there you read. Once you reach the graph, you read down to read. This one is roughly 170, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's almost 174 according to this graph I have here. 174, 175. There is always a range. Your answer should range. If the answer is 174, then I expect 173. I can mark 173 correct. I can also mark 175 correct. Okay, it depends on how the answer is. But please don't stop here. Go to your graph and get that answer. Find the median. The median is the middle one. The median according to our graph is not 50. Don't write 50 and stop there. No, go to 50, go straight and read. After you reach the graph, you read it down. According to my graph, it should be somewhere between there. So in 161, 162, 163, it's kind of 163.5 according to this graph. Okay, as I said, always practice makes perfect when it comes to graphs. Okay, and then the next question is find the interquartile range. How do we get the IQR? This is the third quarter, Q3 minus Q1. Okay, the third quarter minus the first quarter. So then I show you how to get the third quarter, the same way to use to find the first quarter. The first quarter is a quarter times 100, which will give us what? What is a quarter times 100? It's 25. Okay, from there you go to your graph, find where 25 is. Okay, you go to your graph, find where 25 is, somewhere here, 22, 24, 25 is in the middle there. Once you reach the graph, you read down, this is kind of 155.5. 155.5, that is your answer. Then from there you minus. If we got 170, remember here the answer was 174. Minus 155.5, then you get your answer for the IQR. The next question, find the 20th percentile or percentage. This one, our graph is already up to 100. So if it was 200, then we make 20 over 100 times 200, then you see where the 20th percentile is. But 20% in this case is just 20 over 100 here, which is we are going to use 20. You go to your graph, go. Once you reach your graph, you read down. So then this one is like 151, 152, 153, 154.5 for that question. Then the next question, how many people are taller than 175? If you look at your graph, 175 is here. How many people are taller? From 175 going there, how many people are there? How many people? So then you go, if you look at 175 from here up to there, how many are there? You can read there. How many people? 175 goes up to here, from here up to 100. Oh, You can count the blocks. Can you see what I'm showing here? From here up to 100, how many people are there? Or maybe 100 minus, this number is what? Minus 78. 100 minus 78. Then you get that answer. Okay? How many people have heads between 160 and 190 centimeters? Between 160, can you see where 160 is? 160 is here. 190 is here. How many people are there between 160 and 190? Okay, 190 is here. You can read the graph according to this. This is 96. Okay, and then 160 here according to this is 40. Therefore it's 40, or 96 minus 40. Then you get your answer. Or you can count these small blocks between 160 and 190 to get that answer. Okay, moving on is the inequality graph. For the inequality graph, I have a graph here. Okay, I hope you can see. It said write down the equations for these lines. So you can see this line here. These are straight line graphs. Okay, the green, the line in green, how can we get that line? I hope you know that the equation for a straight line is in this form, mx plus c. So you need to find the gradient and you need to find the y-intercept. I hope you know how to work out the gradient of a straight line graph. Okay, once you get your gradient, then you get it here. So then according to this graph, the gradient here can be 6 or negative 6 divided by 6. Sorry, negative 6 divided by 6. The gradient here I can see is negative 1. The y-intercept, where did the graph cut the y-intercept? The y-intercept is 6. Okay, so then the graph of this is y is equal to negative x plus 6. That is the equation for this, the green line graph. Okay, then we have a line in yellow. How do we call this line? This is easy. The horizontal line, and we have another line here, the vertical line. So then the line in yellow is y is equal to 3, and the one in black, or this one, or clear, a bit clear, this one is x is equal to 1. So then these are the 3 graphs for that, or not graphs but the 3 equations. Y is equal to negative x plus 6, y is equal to 3, and x is equal to 1. Then we have another question. The region R in the diagram is satisfied by shading the unwanted regions. Imagine I shade this as unwanted so that R will be left open. Imagine I have to shade this as unwanted. Imagine I have to shade this as unwanted. Okay, up to there. Then it said what? Write down the 3 inequalities that satisfies the region. So then, which inequality? There's a difference between an equation and an inequality. Let's find the inequality for this line. Remember this line we said, this is y is equal to 3. How can I turn this into an inequality? You can see that the region that is open, my wanted region is above. If it's above, we use greater than. Therefore, for this is we use y is greater than or equal to 3. We are using greater than or equal to 3 because it is a solid line. If it was a dotted line, then we use only greater than. Okay, then we find for this line here, we say this line is x is equal to 1. How can I turn this equation into an inequality? So you can see my more numbers. If you look at on the right where my wanted region is, these numbers are greater than these numbers here. Therefore, I can say that this x is greater than or equal to 1. Again, we're using greater than or equal to 1 because it is a solid line, not a dotted line. Then for this graph here, for this, we say this line cutting at 6 and 6, we said this is y is equal to negative x plus 6. If it's negative x plus 6 like that, how can I change this equation into an inequality? Again, you see that my wanted region is below the line. If it's below, that means it's y is less than or equal to negative x plus 6. That is how we use those, how we turn those inequalities. So then you just check whether it's up or down. Above we use greater, below we use less than. And is it greater than or equal? Is it the line solid or is it dotted line? So when it comes to this type of questions, you need to be very, very careful and practice a lot of them. All right? Okay. Then the next question said, find the maximum point of for the expression, find the maximum point for the expression x plus 2y. To get the maximum point for any graph, we focus on the points that are mostly closer to the intersections or to the corners. Then you substitute. If the expression is x plus 2y, we take this point. This point coordinates are 3 and 3. Then we substitute. If x is 3 plus 2y times or 2 times 3, what answer we get here? This is 6, and so here we get 9. We do the same. If we pick this point where the coordinates are 1 and 5, we do the same. 1 plus 2 times 5. Here I'll get 10, 11. If I pick this point where the coordinates are 1 and 3, 1 and 3, if I substitute, that would be 1 plus 2 times 3. Here I'll get what? Here I'll get 7. Now, if you pick this point, you pick all these points here, then you see which one will give us the maximum. The one that will give you the maximum, obviously, is the maximum point. That is the correct point. If it's giving you the smallest number, then that will be the minimum, because sometimes they say find the maximum or find the minimum point. All right. In conclusion, we have done those simple or very important content of this unit: functions and graphs. Go and practice, especially on the functions, drawing graphs, finding the minimum, shading, and so on, and all other units in this module. Practice more, read the questions carefully, find the difference between an equation and an inequality. Your answer must be complete. Look at the marks allocated, please, and answer all the questions. And please, now it's that you are typing, write neatly examination. Sometimes you just put 4 as the answer. As to how you get your 4, I don't know. Now, it will be an advantage and a disadvantage at the same time. If you just put 4 and it happened to be a correct answer worth 4 marks, then you get your 4 marks. But if you happen to put 4 and it happened to be a wrong answer worth 4 marks, then you will lose all the 4 marks. But if you put your steps, there might be some correct steps that you have done that will earn you some marks, rather than just getting or lose them all. I wish you all the best in your studies, and thank you very much. Please take care of yourself.